So hi guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for watching my previous video on life cycle methods. So there are lots of things in React and other JavaScript technologies and I'm trying to cover topics one by one. So today I'm going to talk about React hooks. The upcoming React hooks are about to change the way we handle life cycles, and hooks are new addition in React version 16.8. They let you use state and other React features without writing a class. So in this video, I'm going to talk about use effect hook and how we can implement it. So first of all, what is use effect hook? So it is the solution to many problems like how to fetch the data when a component mounts and how to run code when state changes or when a prop changes. Pretty much anything you want to do in a React component other than returning JSX will go into use effect hook, and you can have more than one use effect per component. So use effect is short for use side effects. Effects are when our application reacts with the outside world, like working with an API, data fetching, setting up a subscription, and manually changing the DOM in React components. It allows us to run a function based on whether something has changed. So in newer version of React, we mostly going to use functional components, and there we have to use effect hook instead of lifecycle method like componentDidMount. So componentDidMount I already mentioned in my previous videos. So if you haven't watched it, I'm going to share the link in the bio. So talking about the component did mount, we say on first render get the user data. Next on component did update lifecycle method, we look to see if anything has changed in the props, and this can be triggered from user initiated events like button pressing. So and the third one is component will unmount. So if I show you this, so these are the three lifecycle method, and so all these three lifecycle methods, component did mount, component did update, and component will unmount, can be combined into one use effect. And I am going to show you that inside code. So keep watching. So without wasting time, I will first start with how we can refactor the class component to functional component. And we are going to use effect hook inside that functional component. So in my previous video, I already has some class component. So you can see that this is the test component class and this is a test child component. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to refactor this class component to functional component. So as you can see that this constructor, in this constructor, we are going to set the status data count. So we don't need constructor inside the functional component. We can directly use state hook to set the initial state like this, and we have to call this use state hook and use effect hook like this. We have to import it, and then we have to change this class to constant test component like a arrow function. So we have to remove this and we have to change it to this, and now this get data will become constant get data, and then it will become as a arrow function like this. So this is how we can call a function inside the functional component. And instead of component did mount, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the use effect hook. So this is like how we can use the use effect hook. And this handle click again become the constant handle click. So this will become an arrow function inside the functional component. Now, previously we are setting the state in the class component like this dot set state, but here we can directly set the state using this set count. So set count we have decided here. So this set count, set status, set data are the function that will set the state of this count, status, and data. And then we in the functional component we don't need this render method. So we can directly call return the JSX inside the functional component. And this is how this dot state is also going to remove, because in functional component we can directly call the state like this status, and we don't need to bind the function. What we can do, we can directly call the handle click event on click function like this. So this is how we refactor the class component to functional component. So you can see that the constructor is removed, and then instead of component did mount, we have called use effect, and then the handle click event will become like this, and set count is used to set the states. So this is now become the functional component. And we are also going to pass one more props that we have I'm going to use. So this is the other prop, and like same like this we are going to change the child component into the functional component. So we are going to remove this component will mount constructor and change this class component to arrow function. So same we are going to do this here. So you can see that now the use effect hook is there, and inside it use effect I'm calling console.log. So this is how we can refactor the class component to functional component, and we can set the state. So we are using two hooks here, use state hook and the other hook is use effect hook. Now what I'm going to show you, I'm going to run this code and show you that if this is calling or not use effect hook. So yeah, so it's saying that undefined has not, okay. So I forgot to remove one more thing. So inside this get data, we are not going to use this set state, we are directly going to set the state like this. So we don't need this here, we can directly set it like this. Okay. So you can see that the functional component is working now. And inside the console log, if I show you one thing, you can see the use effect calling it multiple times. So here it is called one time, then it is again called second time. So sometimes the use effect hook is called multiple times. So to stop it, we can just pass empty array like this. So this is the second parameter, and here in child component, this use effect is calling multiple times. So to call it only once, we can pass a second parameter with an empty array. And now when we going to see it, we can see that use effect is calling only once now. So this is the benefit of passing the second parameter as an empty array to call the use effect only once. Now other thing is also there. So sometimes we need to call the use effect hook when state changes or prop updated. So to call the use effect hook again when something is changed, we have to pass that thing in the second parameter instead of empty array. So let's see what I want. When I click on this button, so the use effect hook call again. So for that, what I have to do, I have to pass that prop. So that props.count inside this empty array. And now when I'm going to click that button, you can see that use effect hook is calling again and again. So why it's calling? Because in the second parameter, I have passed this props.count, and whenever the count is changed, then it's called again. And why it is changing? Because in the parent component, I have passed the count, and on the handle click, so whenever I'm clicking the button, this count state is changes, and that's why the props is changes, and the use effect hook is calling again and again because we have passed this props.count. So this is how the use effect hook works. And now the third thing is that I already talked about, that the component will unmount also we can use inside the use effect hook. So you can see here that what is component will unmount lifecycle method. So the component will unmount lifecycle method is basically used for cleanup tasks. This method will be called just before component is unmounted. So here you can see that when the component did mount happen, we have added event listener, mouse move. And when the component will unmount, that means when the component is unmounted, before unmounted, we are going to remove the event listener. So this is how we can use this lifecycle method. Now I'm going to show you how we can convert this component will unmount method in the use effect code. So you can see this code here. I'm going to paste this code, just a second, so that I can just show you more clearly. So I'm going to paste it here for some time. So like this. So you can see that the did mount method, the code is inside this use effect method. And if you want to call this component will unmount, like inside this use effect, we can use the return method. So inside this return method, we have pasted that window dot remove listener code. So this is how we can use the use effect method and combine all the three methods like component did mount, component did update, and component will unmount like this. So this is whole use effect method. So guys, this is all about use effect hook, and this one is very important as you always going to use this hook whenever you are going to create functional components. So please like and subscribe to the channel as there is lot more coming. Also, if you want a video on a particular topic Let me know in the comment section. Until then, keep learning.